Press conference. My second favorite day of the week.
Second favorite?
Yeah. First favorite's any day besides this.
Oh, not necessarily the game.
No. Any day besides this. Oh yeah, you guys are tough. All right, let's do this.
From Purdue.
Obviously, they're a great team. I think what's impressive about them is they have the most dominant player in college basketball. I mean, it's been well documented and proven time and time again. They got a great coach. And, I think if you take, Edey out of the mix, I mean, I still think it's a top 20 type team. So I think that really says something about how they've built that team and that program. So we know we've got an incredible challenge on our hands, and it's obviously you're asking yourself lots of questions in preparation, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. I can't wait. I mean, it's going to be a fun environment, and it can be incredibly challenging, and it's exactly what we need.
What most stands out to you about Zach Edey and what he's?
I mean, just he's big. He's got great hands. They've taught him great ceiling techniques. He's sturdy, so it's hard to knock him off his line or off balance. And he's done an incredible job. Being able to play through fouls and draw fouls. So it's just a rare combination, and they've done a great job developing him. And I saw him when he was a younger player, and to see the player he's become it's inspiring.
What are some of the things you tell Umar about defending this kind of player?
We'll leave those to Saturday. Nothing you need to know.
What do you think about just fouls in general, as far as Umar's got 5, Krivas has 5, Zach Edey gets everybody in foul trouble?
Well, you know how many Zach Edey has 5 too.
Yeah. But like you said, he doesn't pick him up a lot. He gets a lot.
Maybe he hasn't played against Arizona, so we'll see how that plays out.
Well, does a guy like him have an advantage? Is he particularly clever the way he can pick him up, or do you think maybe?
Well, he's big, he's strong, he's got great hands, and I just think that you've never played against somebody that big, so I just think the angles, the things that maybe the habits you've developed, over your course of playing basketball your entire life, get skewed a little bit because maybe as he's picking the ball up, it's a little further from his body, it's a little higher than you're used to, just things like that. And I mean, I don't know how to tell a guy to prepare for that. We just got to get out there and get a feel for it.
Have you gone into games before and saying, look, this guy is so good, he's going to get the other guys are what we have to worry about more?
I mean, I think every game you go into, you have multiple plans. I mean that I think you really limit your team if you say there's only one way to win this game. And so, that's why games are fun to play, and basketball is so interesting because the flow of the game, offense to defense, defense to offense, it's a constant transition, and there's periodic breaks, but then there's a lot of flow. So I think it makes it really interesting. And if you're just going to hang your hat on one thing, I think it's pretty tough to beat anybody.
Dug up this stat earlier this week that this is the first regular season top 3 matchup for Arizona since '97. I mean, you got to go into a sold-out NBA arena. What does that do for the experience of your guys just being on the stage?
Well, it's where we want our program to be. We want to play on those types of stages, and in order to play on those type of stages, you have to do well yourself. You could schedule it, but if that you schedule out in advance. So in between when you schedule it and actually when the game's played, if you struggle, the game's not going to be as meaningful. So we want to play in meaningful games. And part of us playing in meaningful games is being successful in the games prior to that. So I feel like we've done that. I feel like this is a challenge, a great challenge. I feel like we're up for it. I mean, that doesn't mean by any stretch that we're going to win. I mean, we could get blown out. That's how games go. But, like I've told you guys before, I don't think, a win or a loss at Purdue on December 16th is going to ultimately determine how our season plays out.
Purdue's had a long line of impressive bigs, obviously, but you mentioned a little bit earlier how good their guard play is. That feels like it's been sort of an evolution from my vantage point of Matt Painter's program. getting really consistent guard play? What do you see from their backcourt?
Well, Matt Painter's been a really good coach for a long time. So, I mean, I'm sure if we dissected it, he's won lots of different ways, had success with lots of different types of players. Recently he's fallen into a stretch of really big guys. And, I love big guys. He might love them as much or more than I do. And so, and he's, and he's filled it in with, good players around. I think, the two guards he has, Smith and Lloyd are really good players, and and maybe they've outperformed what others thought, they could be, but I don't think they've outperformed what Matt thought they could be, and he knew what he had, and he's put really, really good, solid players around a dominant player, which is it's a pretty good formula for success.
Obviously, Zach Edey, in terms of the paint, is the main focus, but what have you seen from the guys behind them and what they've been able to give Purdue?
They're really good players. I mean, the Kaufman kid and First are really good players, and they have a guy, who started a lot for him last year. He's not. He's a really good three-point shooter at the 4. So they're really good players. I mean, those guys are, probably close to all conference level players. They just happen to be, playing behind the National Player of the Year. And trust me, he puts them in games. When he has them in games in those stretches, he takes advantage of them. It's not like those guys take second fiddle. So just really good players. I mean, they're a great program who's got depth and multiple weapons. And it's been an impressive run they've been on, and it's been fun to watch them in preparation. And I can't wait to get out there on the court and compete against them.
Love is one of your best free throw shooters. He's getting to the line about 4 times a game. How much more would you like to see him? Maybe.
I mean, I don't set hard numbers. I just want guys to be aggressive and make the right basketball decision. And I think he's done a really good job of that. And he's shown a propensity to put the ball on the floor, get in the paint. Not afraid of contact. And if you do that, usually you get rewarded with some free throws. So I like how he's playing, and I really don't see any need for him to tilt his focus any other direction than what he's already doing.
You're number one. Is there one maybe core thing you'd like to see this team as a group do better?
I mean, I want to get better every day. I mean, I didn't wake up this morning thinking we're number one, we're good enough, season's in the bag. I mean, I woke up this morning or didn't sleep well last night figuring out how could we get better to play against Purdue. So, I mean, the rankings and all that field stuff's for you guys. It's not inside my locker room. So, I don't. I want to get better at a lot of things. Not one certain thing in particular. I want to get better at a lot of things because I know the challenges we have ahead, not only with Purdue, Alabama, FAU, then a Pac-12 schedule. So, we got a long ways to go.
There were some upsets yesterday. Some good teams are struggling with teams they maybe wouldn't normally struggle a little bit. You've alluded to it before. What is it about this time of year?
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into this time of year. You've probably played 8, 9, or 10 games. Maybe certain teams that thought they were going to do well have struggled and have kind of been able to reinvent themselves a little bit or have a little fire lit underneath them. Maybe some teams have haven't or did better than they thought, let their guard down a little bit. I mean, the guys are in finals, I mean, you've been coaching them for a couple months pretty hard. Maybe, they don't listen quite as well, or maybe you lose your edge coaching, a little bit. There's a lot of things that go into it this time of year. And the one, tough thing I think on the outside looking in that people don't understand is, college basketball at this level is pretty much a daily thing. I mean, you have a few built-in days off, but those days off are strategic days for rest and rehab and things like that. But this the everyday nature of it, and you're dealing with human beings. There's going to be ups and downs.
Building off that a little bit, from the national point of view, there will be people that try and boil down this matchup to, okay, great teams last year had one tough day in March. Do you think that's oversimplifying it?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, it's, but that being said, I mean, I own everything that our program's done, positively and negatively. And I know that experience has made me a better coach, and hopefully it's made us a better team and better program. So by no means do I shy away from it. And I assume, Matt and Purdue have had the same exact approach as that. And, if you're coaching out of fear of failure for something that happened last year, man, I mean, that's pretty tormenting, on yourself. So I'm an optimistic guy. I think that's the only way to get through tough times is to be optimistic. And and when you're optimistic and know good days are coming ahead, I think it also allows you to stare down your struggles a little bit more, stay in your struggles a little bit more, and come out of them better. And that's what we've decided to do as a program.
Scout, is that one of the games you look at from last year, or are you just focusing on this year's games that they've played?
Yeah, I'm focused on this year's team. I mean, this year's team, we have enough tape now that I don't think we need to look past.
Of all the great big guys who've come back, like Edey, Oscar Sheway, even Drew Timmy, is that NIL? Is that what the NBA maybe?
Well, I mean, it's probably a combination of both. I mean, just the NBA game has changed a little bit, and things they value seem to have changed a little bit, and so maybe there's not as many opportunities at that next level for those, bigger guys. But I'm glad that they're sticking around college. I think it makes our game better, and I'm happy for those players because they're uniquely talented guys who get to showcase their talent for a little bit longer on hopefully a national stage.
Edey gets 7-3, 7-4 in the NBA. The way the game is played now, or maybe somebody.
Well, that'll be for the NBA to decide. But if I was at that level, I'd sure like him on my team. All right. Thank you, guys.